what's up, dudes? Bill and Ted Face the Music. Oh, my God, this is so crazy. We're in our movie review mode. It's been so long. This
Excuse
pandemic.
the rust.
But what a great film to come back on. This is a nostalgic film. The third Bill and Ted excellent adventure here. 30 years, 29 years
old.
since the last one. 31 since the first one. My God. I never thought this would happen. Honestly, there was a lot of rumors that they wanted to do another one.
There's always rumors.
Well, it's not only that, but Keanu and, Alex Winters themselves campaigned hard to get this movie made. And I was keeping an update on it, and a lot of studios kind of turned it down and stuff, and so I thought it would end up being most bogus by the time it was released, and the special effects would be crappy, but I actually, I didn't expect that the CGI it was most excellent.
Yes.
Very excellent. I'm sorry, most excellent. And so basically this is our Wyld Stallyns have to create the song that unites the universe and reality. And I like this because you've seen in the previous films, you know that this event will happen, and to actually get the fulfillment of it and to see it happen, I thought was really fun. Now, the song that eventually they play, obviously towards the end, because that they sort of do that, is not, I wouldn't say the best song in the world to unite all realities, but it's just really cool to see them actually fulfill the lore and fulfill the universe here. But what did you guys think of Bill and Ted Face the Music?
I think this was worth the wait.
Yeah.
Seeing these two dynamic duels again was so much fun. It was funny as hell. The nostalgia, everything was there. It hit right with me.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I didn't like, but overall, I had a great time.
The jokes were funny, dudes.
They were.
What'd you think, Alex?
It's a movie that, it is a dumb fun, but you have so much fun with it. It knows what it is, and so it's not trying too hard on some things. Most of the jokes landed. They were really funny. There was a lot of, there was like homages paid to other great music movies. There's some Wayne's World thrown in here. There's like a lot of stuff from the first two movies. So I had a blast with this movie.
And I'll say that the characters were just like themselves. They picked up where they left off. Yes, they're older now. Yes, they have daughters. And yes, their lives have moved on. But they've moved on in funny, interesting ways, sort of superimposing these kind of slackers. Not really slackers, but you know what I mean. The kind of stoner kind of kids that are always happy and stuff and just want to jam and rock on. And they have to get, lives, and they go to counseling, which was one of the funnier scenes. Deal with the real world. And they handled it really well. I was just worried, and it makes sense because they've had 30 years to write this thing and think about it. And I think that really did help. I was just worried that maybe they would be cheap throwaway jokes. You look at something like Dumb and Dumber 2. Right,
Dumb and
Dumber. And then and Joe Dirt 2. These fucking awful sequels that you've waited a long time to see.
And try to forget. Thank you for bringing
and try
that
to
up.
forget. They don't exist. American Psycho 2 is another one that I always bring up that doesn't exist. And in this situation, you could have messed it up. But I'm happy to see that the writing feels genuine. It feels in-universe. They pick up right where they left off. A lot of tributes to, the previous films. And it just worked. So we love it. I think I thought it was fun. I thought it worked. What do you say, Joe, that you said, there were parts that I didn't like? What were those parts? Because for me, I think that the adventure is running full steam, and then once you get to the third act, that's where it gets a little bit messy.
Yeah, I think the
climax.
subplot for me didn't really work out. I guess we'll talk about it in spoilers. We're doing that, but the subplot for me.
Well, you could talk the subplot
with their daughters,
with the daughters
and stuff like that.
Okay,
it's kind of like, well, you're doing the same thing from first movie, I believe. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. It took me probably a good 15 minutes to acclimate myself to the way the daughters were acting, because it'd been so long since I seen Bill and Ted. I mean, honestly, I haven't watched the movie in a long time, and so it felt like they were almost overacting in the bit. But after that first 15 minutes, I didn't doubt it, because it's like, this is just, they're trying to do that.
They grew into it. You know, okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I hated the daughters at first. I hated the idea of the daughters. I hated the way they were acting at first. Here's the thing. It's, okay, this might be a little controversial, but, you know, I was hoping that they would have sons, you know, to kind of do that. But it doesn't matter. They had daughters, and it shows, hey, dads can be just as proud of their daughters as they are about sons. Maybe it was just because I want a son, so I was thinking, oh, well, maybe.
No, we got to rewrite this.
So Bill has a daughter. Ted has a daughter. Rufus has a daughter, you know, and I was seeing a lot of this, and I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But here's the thing. I came in like hating on it, but then they earned their spot. I think in particular, Ted's daughter really kind of reflects, you know, Ted a lot. I saw the transition.
At first, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
But
like, I don't know.
Bill's daughter, you know, I just don't see as close a connection to Bill. It's kind of hard, you know. Hugo Weaving's daughter plays Bill's daughter, and she's beautiful and awesome and great actress. We've seen her in other stuff. I like her in that. But I just felt like, you know, at first it was laying it on pretty thick. But honestly, when you're younger, and when Bill and Ted was younger, that's how thick it was.
Yeah.
It was like pretty over the top. So they had to do it. But like I said, happy to report that you get used to it.
They
kind of they grow on you, and
all right, you get a pass.
You get a pass. So a lot of funny subplots here. You know, they introduce a new threat, a robot character. We've had robots in the past in Bill and Ted, and this robot is unlike any other robot that they've seen. You know, I really liked this robot character, Dennis.
Yeah,
he has a name.
Yeah. Dennis was great. I think one of the problems that I had in the third act is they spent a little bit too long, maybe a few minutes too long per section. And I think Dennis had maybe one too many scenes. Yeah. And I think they spent a little too long, because I think it started to mess up. Because
with the same kind of joke.
Yeah, because it was crisp, it was clean, it was as crisp and clean as a Bill and Ted movie is going to be, by the way. And it's going on, and it's moving really quick, and it slows down a little bit, and you're like, oh man, I don't know if they were trying to like hold up the timer, because there's times where they're holding up a timer, and I think the timer, like you said,
I was checking to see if it synced with the actual movie time left.
And I think that they were trying to maybe stretch it out a little bit. They're like, well, during the editing process, we need to add a little bit more. It's like, man, just give us something different.
Trim it a bit.
Where it started to lose a little bit, or spin its wheels a little bit, I think is when they because you've seen him in the trailer, Death Returns.
Yes.
And when they go to hell and sort of, you know, meet with him and the whole dynamic there, it works, but it takes a little too long, and it seems like and I was like, man, there's so many things you could do with Death. I know he's had his own film, and they did, and it was, you know, a part of the Wyld Stallyns and everything, but I just wish that Death had a little bit more in there. And then going into that third act, I was worried that they would take focus off of Bill and Ted, because they've got all these new characters. So they go through time much like previous films, and they get some of the best musicians and artists in their own universes to come and form a band and try to play this song that's going to save the universe. And we can talk more about that in spoilers, but I liked the individual. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, honestly, this time around. Whereas in the first Bill and Ted, all of them worked. Yeah. Every single one. This one, some work, some don't. And so you've got a little bit of that. But I think more than enough things work in this film, and more than enough of the jokes that hit. And it's just so good to see Keanu Reeves and Alex Winters just having fun again. And I loved it. So let's go ahead and give our final verdicts for the film. Should you go out and watch this? Now, remember,
should you stay
this
in
is
and
not.
rent it?
Here's the thing: in Alamo Draft House here in Austin, they're playing it, but we just VOD'd it because it's like, why? If you don't have to,
why?
Don't
risk it.
But I think we're eventually going to have to start risking it, Joe, and go check out some of these things, because we want to bring you the New Mutants review and things like that. But do you think it's worth it? Because it's going to be $20 to rent and $25 to buy. And that's where, at least on Amazon, is what I did. So I spent $25 because I wanted to support this film. I wanted it so desperately to be made, and I was following along with Keanu, retweeting and doing all this to try to help get it made. So you can bet I was going to.
I would say yes for sure. Check this movie out, and then especially if you've seen the last two, this is a definite for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
get some friends together if you want to split the cost. If you think the 20, 25 is a little too much, but split the cost.
If you can go to the movie theater now, even by yourself for less than $20, I mean, there's some places with parking, movie tickets, and a drink. You're way over $20 anyway. So, this isn't one of those things.
That's going to bite you in the ass when we get to Mulan.
Yes, we will be doing this week, so keep an eye out for that one. This is definitely something you should see, whether you're a huge fan of Bill and Ted or not. It's just again, it's a dumb, fun movie that if you're in the right mood, it's a fantastic watch.
That's a good point. Would you like it if you didn't see the other films? Well, there are a lot of callbacks, but I think there's enough genuinely good moments and family camaraderie and just good, goofy, warm-hearted fun that you would like.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But it's so much more enriched by having seen the previous films. So let's go final verdicts.
For me, this is going to be an 8. It was a feel-good movie, once again. I loved watching the alternate universes alternative Bill and Ted's.
My favorite was the prison guy.
That was the favorite parts. It's so good. Third act did kind of fall for me. The subplot was like, I could do without this subplot. But overall, it was a good time. 8.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Joe. I think this is an 8. I think it may be getting one extra point just from the nostalgia, growing up loving Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely an above-average movie that even someone who's not a fan will probably enjoy some of the dumb humor. If you're in the mood for dumb humor, if you're like, well, I'm expecting Schindler's List, you're in the wrong space. It's a Bill and Ted movie. Yeah. And so, but I was in the mood. This is something that I did love growing up. So I definitely think you should go see it. 8 out of 10.
I agree. 8 out of 10. Boom! Unanimous. 8 out of 10 or across the board.
First one.
Most of them all work. I'd say that the subplot with the wives kind of gets lost a little bit and didn't really seem to matter. Really seem to matter. I was worried that there was going to be too much focus on the daughters, but by the end, everything culminates and comes together, and everybody gets their spot. It's great. So definitely go and see it. Pick it up, rent it, go to the theaters if you want to take that chance here during this time. Or if it's on VOD, I'd suggest doing it on VOD, relaxing at home, and enjoying it with anybody else that you've seen the previous films with. It's going to be a laugh ride. It's going to be great. So stick with us in the spoiler section where we can talk about what exactly made us laugh the most and what exactly didn't work quite as well. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'm just so happy that we are back to movie reviews. I fucking love movie reviews.
Full steam now.
This is a good one to come back on. I'm so happy it got made and really surprised at the quality of it. You know, it looked really good. Graphics, fantastic. CGI, music. It was filmed very well. So
this is a lot better than our last movie that we saw.
Yeah, I was like, that's it. It took us months and months to get a palate cleanser.
Yes.
What is the last film that we saw, Joe?
I don't remember
the
name.
When you hear your family.
Yeah, it was
Bloodshot.
When you hear your family. Got him breadsticks, fucking Bloodshot with Vin Diesel. So this finally cleans that nasty taste out of my mouth. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. Stick with us in the spoiler section. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Welcome to the spoiler section for Bill and Ted's Face the Music. So, let's see. The things that worked a lot for me is I thought the robot was really funny. The robot, when he was killing people, he's like, oh, shit. He's like killing the wrong people. He's like this shitty robot. And I don't know why future technology is making a robot that's like, ouch, ouch, when he's getting beat up because he goes to prison, tries to kill them, and then all the prisoners beat up the robot. He's like, ouch. And then,
he starts feeling, he's like, I'm sorry, I killed your family.
Right, and he wants to kill himself, and he's like, oh, shit, so they have to grab him so that they die, too, so they can go to hell, because they already killed his family, and I guess Bill and Ted need to go to death. So I was looking for this epic sort of thing where they have to go back to death, they have to beg death to get their daughters out of hell and get their family out of hell. and maybe play some games again.
Twister.
You remember that Twister challenge? He's even doing a little bit of that at the beginning. He's like,
Yeah.
I was so out. He's like playing hopscotch,
cheating.
but he's cheating and he's playing by himself. I was like, this is gonna be great. But no, it takes a different direction, and it's because of his history with. It's like they picked up where they left off. You know, they like sued him and tried to get him out of the band and restraining order, this and that. But it was more like a let's get the band back together, and it's more his daughters their daughters that actually facilitate that talk to death, since they can't come to an agreement and they can't, they're just too much bad blood. So the daughters fix that situation. And it just dwelled a little bit too much on the talking him up and him being convincing and things like that.
It just went too
long. Would have
long.
been more fun
Yeah.
if you had went a different direction.
Yeah, I think they could have played games, and I just think that even that scene could have worked if it was maybe just 5 minutes shorter. And I mean, it was a long time that we were there, and right up until that point, the movie was getting really exciting.
Yeah.
And I was getting excited and then it just kind of
That's where it's
down.
Even though Hell looks great.
Hell looks
like
really cool.
I was really surprised at all this. I remember in the trailer reactions, I was like, man, I'm worried about it's gonna be cheap. It's gonna do it.
No, it looked
no,
good.
Looked great.
Perfect. Looked like a big time
It
AAA
looked like
movie.
better than Spawn did at Hell.
Yeah,
The original.
it was better than Spawn's Hell.
So it did better than a
Spawn,
movie from
live
the early
action
90s.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
It's like, hey, like
it's
the
a kinda
budget.
lower budget
Exactly.
movie.
It's like might be a lower budget.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the different characters. So who do we get through time?
We get Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. Did you like Jimi Hendrix?
Well, that whole subplot for me, like I said, I could have done without.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really mind it, but
The subplot of the daughters, going
yeah.
back. And so
They
the
try to-
daughters see that their dads need some help because they're trying to fix things, and so they want to help with the music to get a band together to play the song that they eventually come up with.
yeah, so they go all around time and picking up all these people, but
I actually liked that plot line. I think it gave the daughters something to do, and we got to see the historical figures like we have in the previous films. Jimmy was fine for me. Then who else?
We got Louis Armstrong, which again
did
was a strong scene. And then we got Mozart, again, a pretty strong scene. And then they started going like further and further back in time, people that we're less familiar with.
After you got Mozart, I loved the Mozart
Yeah.
part. I loved Armstrong, but you said his voice is a little different, or the actor was kind of playing up. He was playing a caricature version of him. But then you're right. That's when it kind of loses a little steam. We go back in time.
China. And
We go to Japan, and it's like the most, and then we have a musician that I've never heard of before, and then a made up best drummer of all time from like
caveman.
3000 BC, and it's like okay, we're stretching it. We're going like
yeah.
pick people we know.
That
and
would be a little bit better.
It strengthens it a little bit, but it still wasn't bad.
So then they bring those back, and we like that. Now, as far as the wives have this plot line where they're trying to tell the Wyld Stallyns that things haven't been
Give up the
very
dream.
good. Give up the dream. They haven't been able. 25 years they've not been able to figure out this song, and it just sucks to see that happen. But it makes sense. I mean, if you're focusing on the music, you're not focusing on the princesses.
Go get a job. All right,
They're
we need money.
princesses. Well, they did release albums and things.
They had one number one.
Right, but then they just went down from there, and they
One-hit
weren't
wonder.
uniting the world, and
Nope.
shit, the universe, rather. So they go to therapy, but I just didn't understand. So the princesses eventually, older versions of the princesses use it's a telephone booth, the old school telephone booth, to travel into time to get the new the
To find
younger
a
princesses.
better life.
I didn't get that. No, I do. No, I get that, where they were like, they went into time to see a time that they were happy with them or something, and that everything works out, and they couldn't find one, right? So I was like, okay, I know where this is going at the end, and eventually it does, but it's almost like they forgot about it, and then at the last minute they're like, we found the one where we're happy together. It's this one. But I mean, if the movie was focusing on it and that was kind of the main plot line, it would have worked a little more. But no, it's more like the side thing, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, well, no, moving on. So
No, the main plot line I fucking love. Future Bill and Ted were the best.
Yeah, they were
They're so
really,
like
really
evil
funny.
and conniving.
yeah. That's where the movie was running on
Yes.
all cylinders. And when you would go on these side detours with the daughters and with the wives, that's where it kind of worked a little less. But then the historical figures worked and death worked, I thought. And Yeah, it was an excellent adventure, and most tubular, dude. Anyways, like I said, even though the song at the end of the film wasn't all that cool, I do think it was the culmination of all the universe and the lore, and it was cool to see. They even threw in Rufus. I don't know if it was a look-alike or he. No,
that was filmed. That was taken from the original movie, and then when
digitized,
then there was a voice actor when they cut away from him because then they changed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they never really went into that lore because Rufus's daughter is now in charge. Has his old position, kind of mentoring the boys, and then. But they never. I don't know if they ever mentioned how Rufus died in universe. Obviously, the great George Carlin, fucking amazing. But they didn't really allude to that. And it turns out that the leader of this future universe was Rufus's wife, and is sort of in charge of things, and she's got a subplot where she's like, there's not really a villain. I'm looking for a villain, but I guess she could be most called a villain, kind of.
It's a natural disaster movie. That's what it is.
Right.
This is truly just a natural disaster movie.
Yeah, I was trying to find a villain, and she sends the robot after them because there are some theories that their deaths is what brings about, but I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. According to all the previous lore and history in the song, it doesn't make any sense. But whatever, because it did create good tension and funny moments between the robot and the boys. So what else? What other kind of spoilery things can we talk about here?
They save the universe. That big spoiler. Yeah. They do it. Everyone comes together, and it turns out that everyone playing the song throughout time is what fixes the.
So
rift.
that was good. I'm glad you brought that up. I thought that was a little stupid. Yeah. I was like, wait, what? I didn't understand what they were saying. They were like, while their daughters were getting everybody together and getting them on the same beat and the same groove, it's like, I didn't like the fact that it was, I saw it coming, right? Where it's like, wait a minute. Logan, it's you, daughters, and we're here to support you.
Like, this is Wyld Stallyns.
No. That's Wyld Stallyns. Well, but
they were the producers.
I remember, and I heard that they were the guitar players because they had previously heard the song in their headphones. And so I was like, okay, it will come around, hopefully. Otherwise, I was like, nope, don't you do this new generation bullshit. As long as they help,
that happens.
Right? As long as they help. And they're still, but that's what happens. They help, and then they get the guitars, and then and they also turn into Infinity Us.
They go to as many times, like all of the timelines, hand out instruments, so you have to play 113 beats per minute in C major.
I didn't understand that. Do you understand that, Alex? It's like, yes, we can hear this song in this universe, but what about the other universes?
Yeah, they said
that's why
they needed to play the song in all of the different timelines simultaneously, which apparently fixes this made-up rift in the space-time continuum.
But give me a fucking trombone.
Exactly.
How the fuck am I going to play a trombone?
Well, you hand it to someone who knows how to play a trombone. They have infinite time and infinite timelines.
They're saying that the artists saved the universe.
Yeah, music united everyone.
If you had
through
no
all
musical
times.
ability, you could just be like Dennis, or you'd be like dancing.
Yes.
He did a little dance. It wasn't
he
so
did
bad.
a little dance, and he's in prosthetics, so it's not like he's gonna be able to do some b-boy shit, some break dancing, but he did a little bit. So yeah, they hands out instruments to everybody. They're playing on stage. It is kind of ridiculous to hear Mozart's going on the piano and the trumpet, and I was like, yeah, these genres don't really mix to make the ultimate song, but whatever, I'm down with it. It's the universe. The universe demanded that in order to fix it.
Fix everything.
I was hoping for an epic song.
Yeah, me too. I was hoping they do like a Tenacious D type thing where they don't play the song, or they play the song, but we as the audience don't hear it.
I was thinking that could be a good way out of it.
Yeah, so they do it, but something else is happening, and we don't get to hear the whole thing, and so
but you hear it.
You're left, and you hear it, and you're like, I wish I didn't hear it, but it's not bad. It's just not what it's not
the one the universe.
It's like, this is supposed to unite us.
Yeah. Look, guys, the song was always going to disappoint you because if you're a rap fan, you're not going to like it. If you're a rock fan, then you like it maybe a little bit, but there's way better rock songs. I'm a heavy metal fan. I'm like, can I get some of the Prison? Because they were like, no, we can't play that. That's a little dark. I'm like, come on, Wyld Stallyns. You're talking about my music now.
Yeah.
And so they didn't add any of that. But it was still good fun. And I just wish it had a tiny bit more impact there at the
bigger
end.
ending.
Because the credits just smash, and you're like, wait,
it's like, yeah, we did it. Bye.
Okay.
What I was really hoping, one of the things about this movie that I love the most is they did such a good job with the hair and makeup for the two guys in the future.
Yeah.
You get to see jacked Bill and Ted. You get to see really old Bill and Ted.
And the makeup is
really good because you see
film.
old people in like prosthetics and they look, or young actors wearing this stuff, and it's like, man, that's the worst mustache I've ever seen. This looks terrible. They looked really, really good. I wanted to see them on stage. I wanted to see the two jacked Bill and Teds like headbanging on the stage, doing their thing in the song. And what it is like all of the Bill and Ted songs throughout come together, and that's what it was. But I mean, we still,
that would have been cool as hell. One thing that I think didn't work for me is Kid Cudi. He kind of, it felt like a forced cameo, like maybe he knew somebody owed him a favor or something like that. And so he almost takes this character where he's like hyper intelligent. He's the one that knows the temporal distortions and this.
It reminded me of Wayne's World when they go see Alice Cooper and they're sitting now, they're ready to party with Alice Cooper, and he's like, actually, Milwaukee is Milwaukee of the Indians in the air, and he's the one explaining quantum physics to these guys, and they're like,
so I like that kind of throwback stuff, but it just felt, I was like, what?
Out of place.
No, it felt a little out of place. And then he goes, Station, and I was like, okay, you're doing a throwback to Station, but
where'd that come from?
Where'd that come from? And then he's like got a glowing thing, like he's a station race. Was that the implication?
No, I think he and all the other people were going back to their own timelines because after he warped, all those other people warped away.
Okay,
it got messy towards the end.
It did get a little messy towards the end. So I was just picking out some of the nitpicking and telling you what worked for me and what didn't. If you guys want to let us know what worked for you and what didn't, go out and see this one. Seriously, I want to support this one. I have the Angry Army support this, and it's a ton of fun. So, all right. Catch you later, Angry Army.
Excellent.
You didn't do it, Joe. You have to do this when I do this.
All right, bye, guys.